and role and responsibility?
Yeah, sure.
And what are the toughest problem you have solved in your organization? What tools and what certification you have completed? And what is your learning right now?
Sure, sure. Yeah, thank you. And very good afternoon. And yeah, yeah, myself, Pranay. Total, I have 4.3 years of experience in cloud and DevOps. And I started my career as a junior DevOps engineer in Cyber CyberOps Private Limited. So there I worked almost 2 years. So in the first 2 years, I learned AWS. So in AWS, I worked on EC2, S3, and EBS, IAM, VPC, and EKS, and AWS Lambda. And coming to the DevOps side, I worked on Git, Linux, Maven, and we configured entire CI/CD pipeline in EC2 by using EC2 machines, EC2 Linux machines, and there in Jenkins we configured Docker, Kubernetes, and SonarQube for code analysis test, and we used JFrog Artifactory, and after the deployment, coming to the monitoring side, we used monitoring AWS CloudWatch for minor monitoring, and for more important things, we set up the Prometheus and Grafana alerts, the CPU utilization, and Kubernetes pod issues. Later on, I joined in WIT Solutions. There, I got a chance to explore on GCP Cloud, and in GCP, I worked on Compute Engine, BigQuery, and for CI/CD, I used Cloud Build and Cloud Deploy, and morely I worked on GK, Google Kubernetes Engine, uh, and uh, and here I worked on Terraform side also. By using Terraform, I created the GCP infra, and then coming to the alerting tools, I worked on a Splunk on call as alerting tool. So whenever there is I used to get alert if there any issue in the database or Kubernetes bots or application side. So we configured this Splunk on call. So we immediately get some alerts on that, and immediately we use it to try troubleshoot things. And if we don't have the access for certain services, immediately we use it to escalate to the L3 team. I was on the L2 team, and if it is not in our hands, like access, if you don't have access, immediately we use it to inform to the L3 team. And in my 4 years of experience, I resolved the like biggest uh, problem I solved is means when application is down and we are constantly facing 403 error, 502 bad gateway, and I troubleshooted all the steps by going through the backend. So what exactly went wrong when the deployment happened? So why we are facing 502, and sometimes we used to get 403 forbidden error. Why we are getting this type of errors even though the deployment is correct? So I used to trouble. I worked on those troubleshooting steps, and currently my learning on morely I'm focusing on for more in Azure Cloud also. So far, I worked on AWS and GCP Cloud. Currently, I started Azure, and moreover, I'm daily following the tech news in the LinkedIn and Medium Substack portals for latest news like uh, MLOps and AIOps is coming already there. Some people are working on MLOps, machine learning, and artificial intelligence. So I'm g- learning and studying those type of news. Yeah, that's it about myself.
Okay, okay. Um, okay. Can you tell me how you deploy the application end to end from the scratch?
Yeah, sure. Mm, yeah, in coming to Jenkins, uh, I deployed an end-to-end application. Like after initializing the uh,
It should include
Jenkins.
how you created the infra and how you deploy the microservice. It should be microservice based application, and
Yeah,
how from collaboration to the different team. It should include everything.
yeah, sure. From the entire pipeline, right? Entire one. Including the dev team and Q team also. How they are involved in my CI/CD pipeline, right? Exactly.
Yes, yes, yes.
Yeah, okay, Arvind. Yeah, thank you. Got it. Yeah. So after creating the EC2 machine, Linux machine in AWS or Compute Engine in GCP, so I install the Jenkins, and the before that prior I install Java, and then I need to, after getting the Jenkins dashboard, I install the necessary plugins. So we will get some requirement from the development team. So what are the tools there is, Node.js or Java. Uh, so based on that, I use it to install those plugins. And uh, if it is a Java based application, we need to install the Maven plugin also for to build the Java code. So I installed Maven plugin, and after building that, we need to deploy into the Tomcat server. For that, I install Apache Tomcat. So for other microservices applications like database and uh, front end thing, and back end, those type of payments, suppose payment services and API gateways. So these are microservices. For this, we need to install the Docker plugins and Kubernetes plugin. And for monitoring pod, we need to I install the all necessary plugins like Docker, Kubernetes, Prometheus, Grafana, and Mav and everything. So and Git, mainly Git to get the code.
Pipeline
Git.
you will deploy the Jenkins CI/CD tool. It will come later. Now, how you will start to build the application? This is the new requirement from the business team. Now, what will be
Okay.
your first step? Jenkins is will come later on. Na?
Like deployment, yeah.
How you will deploy the application first? What will be the first step?
Okay. First step, like before installing the Jenkins, what is the first requirement?
Like, first you will take the code in the source code management.
Yeah, yeah, yes, yes.
What tool
GitHub.
you have used for the source code management?
Yeah, for source code management, we used Git. I mean, in Jenkins pipeline, we install the Git plugin. So from that, by after installing the Git plugin, we copied the source code in like from GitHub. We copied the repository ID.
You use
We,
source code management, you will be using GitHub, right?
yes, GitHub.
So there is no question of Jenkins, na. You will take all the code to the GitHub. Okay.
GitHub, exactly.
You
Yeah.
will tell your developer to push. You will create the repo, and you will tell
Yes.
your developer to push that code in
Dev
GitHub.
branch or Q
GitHub.
branches. Yes, yes.
GitHub.
Yeah.
After that,
Yeah. After that, they are pushing. Then we need to start the uh, like we need to understand the application. I mean, so what are the necessary tools we need to install? Like after getting the source code SCM, and we need to plan the requirements as per our project. We need to install Docker, Kubernetes. Planning should be there.
you will build the Docker image. Can you share your screen?
Yeah, yeah, sure. Yeah, is my screen visible, Arvind?
Yes. Open the note Docker, or you can say any notepad.
Yeah, yeah, I'm opening the notepad.
Write the Docker file for Node.js application.
Yeah, sure.
Increase the size of that.
Okay,
Maximize that. I mean to say maximize that file. Okay. Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
okay. From
Okay. Okay.
yeah,
What will be the file name?
Docker
Start
file
with
name.
writing file name. Yeah. Write down the file name first.
Okay, okay. Docker file name we can give file name Node.js. We
नहीं नहीं डॉकर का जो यू विल बी राइटिंग डॉकर फाइल ना तो
yeah
डॉकर
from
फाइल का नाम क्या रहेगा व्हाट यू विल राइट डॉकर फाइल नेम ऑफ दैट फाइल हाउ यू विल राइट डॉकर फाइल
okay, okay. I mean vi. I will open the direct vi by using vi command. Vi.
राइट राइट स्टार्ट
Okay. Yeah,
स्टार्ट
that's
राइटिंग डॉकर फाइल
yeah. I'm done with. npm install from. Yeah, I will write vi dot docker file and cmd and I will expose.
Yeah, first command write it now. Vi. What you will write? Huh? Vi.
Yeah, vi I will give the name for dot something. So if it is node, just node dot docker file and d should be capital on the. So this is the step I will do. Vi node dot docker file. In the after opening the vi commander, I will write this from ubuntu run and copy expose the port number 8000 and from and work dir also need right work directory slash app.
Have you
Yeah,
worked on GCP?
yeah, yeah. Worked on GCP for 2 years.
Okay,
On
continue.
yeah, that's it. This is the basic steps for Node.js file. I'm running the npm install and later I'm running the npm run. I'm exposing the port 8000.
Okay. Okay. So if you're writing a Docker file, na, so it will be starting with the Docker D command and file, Docker file, not node. Node dot will be not there. Okay. Only
Okay,
Docker file with a capital. That's what I want to make you understand.
okay, okay. Yeah.
Okay. Anyway, you will be
Yeah,
you have builded the dependency with npm installed, but where you have okay, you will copy the source code. You haven't copied the source code.
I'm copying the source code like src to
There
some.
is a package log JSON where you will be having all the package you will be need to install. Okay,
Yes, yes.
so
JSON.
in that you need to have that, you need to copy the source code and you can sell that the you can you will take the first dependency file to install all the package. So you will copy first that and then you will be installing the dependency. Anyway, do you have knowledge in Kubernetes?
Yeah, yeah, I do have knowledge in
Yeah.
Kubernetes. Yes.
Can you explain me the architect of Kubernetes?
Yeah, basically, Kubernetes construct works mainly on a worker plane node and worker plane. So
So just a
the
second, just a second. So we have in the thing the source code will be pushed by developer and you will design the Docker file. After that, designing the Docker file, what you will do?
yeah, after designing the Docker file, I will try to we will get an image from that image. I will build the Docker containers.
Exactly. So how you will design the microservice? Means how you will deploy the microservice. Have you used Helm to deploy the microservice?
Uh, Not help, and we deployed some instead of Helm, we used some another thing. Uh,
What you use?
uh, after building the Docker containers, we deployed. Uh, we deployed by using manually. We deployed after building the Docker containers. We deployed to the manually into the Kubernetes cluster.
So how you deploy when the cluster is there, then how you will deploy your microservice? What are the files you will be writing?
Okay, what are the files?
What are the manifest file you will be writing to deploy your microservice?
Yeah, in the .yaml, we'll write the uh, files like API and user services and kind that file that those things we will mention in the YAML file while deploying while deploying into the Kubernetes cluster.
Okay. Go ahead with architect of the Kubernetes.
Yeah, Kubernetes architecture works mainly on worker node and master plane. So in master node we have the API server and uh, control plane, and then we have the worker nodes. In worker nodes we have node and containers. So in control plane, API server, it is used for the entry point for all the requests, and API server is validate the processes and kubectl API calls, and at CD we can store our the entire database values, cluster configuration, and the scheduler, it will assign the pods to work the worker nodes. And mainly thing, we have control manager, it ensure the desired state in maintain. And in worker nodes we have kubelet. It is like agent running with the in each node and communicate with the API server. This is a master plan and worker node, it works each components.
Okay. So what is the means what is the role of API Cube API?
Yeah, Cube API, it will communicate with the API. The kubelet, it will communicate with the API server.
Okay. And what Cube scheduler do?
Cube scheduler. Cube scheduler, it will schedule the pods. Where do we need to schedule the pods in worker nodes?
Cube control manager.
Cube control manager, it manages the whole cluster. It manages the whole entire cluster.
Okay. What is the role of kubelet?
Yeah, kubelet will deploy the pods by using the kubelet commands. We can we it will deploy the pods.
Cube proxy.
Kube proxy, it will communicate with the networking part.
Control manager. Uh, what are the component of control manager?
Control manager components, HCD, and it shows the database values, and API server, and node controller, it monitors the node health, and we it has the replica set and a deployment controller.
What do node controller do?
uh, Node controller, it monitors the node health and marks the node ready. If kubectl stops responding, it will notify.
What is the replica controller?
Replica controller ensures the required number of pods replicas are running.
How will user send a request for creation of the node and how will be the communication will be starting?
Like user means here.
If a user send a request to create the
If
pod, how it will be?
Okay, if user send a request to create the pod, so here uh, initially the control um, from uh, from kubectl command, the pod will create by using kubectl command. From that backend, this thing, all things will work on in the control manager, kubelet and replica set and deployment manager.
What are the deployment strategy you have followed for the deployment of your application?
For our application, we followed blue-green deployment. So here, blue is a constant one, and green is the new environment. If older one is stopped, a new one will be
So how
started.
you deployed your application?
Yeah, I deployed the application by this strategy, blue-green deployment.
Okay, 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 okay,
Yeah,
okay, okay. So if you want to see the logs of a pod, how you will see?
yeah. kubectl get pod name
So that will show the pod name, na? I want to see the logs.
logs. I mean, entire particular pod logs or
Yes, yes, particular pod.
yeah, kubectl. To check the logs, mean kubectl get a pod name. We'll get the pod logs like pod
kubectl get
kubectl.
pod, get pod. Okay.
Yeah,
So it
get
will give
pod.
the pod name, na? How you will see the logs?
Okay, log kubectl get pod name and log the name. Will get the logs.
If the pod is not running, what you will check first?
Yeah, if pod is not running, I will check the if the memory allocation is there or not. If to run the pod, uh, I will I will check kubectl get pods and yeah now I will describe the pod kubectl describe pod and pod name. Then we can know the details of it has the
What is
memory.
namespace?
Sorry.
What is namespace?
Yeah, namespace we can in Kubernetes namespaces we can create the domain names.
Domain name.
No. Sorry, namespace. It is uh, cluster with virtual cluster within the Kubernetes. I mean that allows our organize the. Um, it has the pod services and deployments. Like it will
Is
the
the
namespace divides the cluster resources uh, among the multiple teams.
have you done
And
end-to-end deployment in production environment?
yeah, I did end-to-end deployment
Through which tool?
through Jenkins only, like integrated with the Jenkins CI/CD.
Okay. What are the number of replica set you will maintain for one microservice?
Uh, for one microservices, we maintained two replica sets.
And what is
We
for
ma-
a staging environment and what is for production environment?
yeah, one is for uh, yeah, like yeah, one is for staging for a replica, and for dev staging QA and production. Yeah, there should be four replica sets. Sorry, for each environment, one replica set.
How many application you have worked?
Uh, I worked on e-commerce application, and one more is that is mainly US project, that is CCTV surveillance web
How
application.
many DCP means? Can you give me if the pod is not responding, what
Mm,
you will check first?
yeah, suppose if pod is not responding, I will check the kubectl get pods and kubectl describe and pod name. After seeing these two statements, we will get to know what is the issue exactly. Like for if there is any crashback loop, and we can check the memory status or CPU utilization, whether we have the enough memory to run this pod or not.
Okay. Uh, so you have worked in Kubernetes, right? Means
Yeah.
okay, and you haven't worked with a Helm to deploy your application. If the code error is 500, what you will do?
Yeah, I will check the backend logs. If code error is 500, it generally it will basically from the backend logs like Java. Our backend application is Java. I will check the Java-based application logs like these logs, container logs.
What are the different services you have worked in GCP?
GCP, I worked on yeah, compute engine, cloud build, cloud deploy, BigQuery, and cloud SQL, and GKE, IAM, and VPC, and firewall rules, firewalls.
So if a Docker image where is stored in GCP,
Mm, yeah, we used for that GCP. We use the GCS buckets to store the Docker images.
that is the artifact registry.
Yeah, artifact. In that only we will store the Docker images for
What is
artifacts.
unmanaged and managed service in GCP?
Sorry, what is
What is managed instance group in GCP?
manage instance group? Yeah, manage instance group is we can manage the instances into one group. Like suppose we have in South region we are running. There are a couple of 10 to 12 instances are there. So we can manage that instance for auto scaling. There is one group for and we can create for dev regions for separate manage instance regions. We can create divide that, and for rolling updates one instance region depends on the application and environment. So we can divide into the manage.
What are the hierarchy of the project organization in GCP?
Now in GCP, for each and every services, the hierarchy or
How you will create a project in GCP means what is the how you do that?
yeah, I will create the project in GCP. I mean, after opening the GCP console, we will create one project and we'll name some project, and then we'll get some project ID number, and it will
First,
associate
you
with
will
the
be creating the organization, then folder, and within that folder, you will be having the project name, right?
yeah, yeah. So if we yeah we have project name under the company name. So after we need to open the project. In the project, we will create the GCP services.
What is difference between firewall rule and security group?
Yeah, firewall rules are in GCP we call firewall rules, inbound and outbound. In AWS we call security groups. In security groups we also have inbound and outbound rules.
What is internal DNS in GCP?
Internal DNS, it is internal IP address we call, like it is private IP address within the
What
private
type of
persistent
storage service provided by GCP?
storage services by GCP. One is like Cloud SQL and and, and then BigQuery and
Storage service like
okay, storage services. um we have like standard. If you take the standard services and nearline, code line, archive for long-term storages. So these are the storages in GCP we generally we use. Standard one SSD and balanced SSD for persistent storage.
For to test the code quality and all, which service do you use?
For we used code quality. Sonar Cube we used. We integrated Sonar Cube. From Sonar Cube, we analyze the code.
What is means how you check the billing in GCP? It is related to source and project. How you check?
Yeah, in the GCP console left side we have the navigation path, right? In the in the navigation path, we will check the directly go to the billing section. There we need to select our project ID. In that the project, we can see the entire bill for that specific project billing.
Explain the IAM policies and GCP.
Yeah, in GCP, yeah, IAM policies are we define user, I mean user level and admin level, and so these are the policies we'll give like member and roles. The role wise, there we can define give the permissions in the group wise IAM.
Where you first see the logs in GCP?
In GCP, in cloud monitoring, we can see the logs.
What cloud monitoring tool you use?
In
In cloud
GCP,
monitoring, in GCP cloud monitoring, you can see you where you see the logs.
um, specifically in GCP, we can see the logs by using the cloud monitoring service. There we can see the logs. Apart from this, we can see the logs from Grafana metrics, Prometheus with the help of.
So, what is the observability tool have you worked? Means what are the observability tool?
Yeah, mainly observability tool is we can include a Splunk on call. It will alert the issues, and then we will use the Jabix in another projects. I use Jabix also for better monitoring purpose. Jabix and Prometheus Grafana.
Open the second tab and write the CI/CD pipeline in Jenkins.
Okay. You want to be right in stages with declarative pipeline or
Write all the pipeline from
all
very
pipeline?
beginning from the scratch.
Okay, all pipelines one by one.
Start.
Okay. This is the pipeline with Groovy script in agent stages. I retain the checkout stage, build stage and test stage, Docker build and Docker deploy.
But after Docker build stage, you have to push your image to some artifact, right? And then only
Yeah,
you can deploy.
yeah, that also we can include here. So
But over here you have used build stage, Maven, and then test stage, Maven. Now in that test, what it is doing currently?
no, it is a sample one. So here we can write here we'll give the SCM git repo, and here we'll write Docker build. And
You will be doing clone or you will be pulling that, right?
yeah, here we'll write. So I don't know the git. Yeah, I will write the command git clone. But before we need to give the git repo ID.
Okay. Open the second
Mm,
tab and write down the deployment file of manifest file of the cube manifest file.
oh,
Deployment cube manifest file.
okay. Deployment of Kubernetes YAML file, right? Manifest.
Yes.
Okay. This is the manifest file written with the by using deployment, and I created creating two replica sets.
But why you will use the Nginx?
I mean, you can use anything.
You will give the Docker image what you the files you have created, right?
Yeah,
And where the
yeah.
specification of the means what memory you will be giving, what where is the liveness, writeness, and all. You understood? What memory you will be assigning to this replica set? Where is the uh, env location within from where it will be communicating to database secrets? Where is the path? Go to the Docker file.
Okay, this is a Docker file.
What path was giving? You are giving slash app. So you have to assign this slash app in the Docker deployment file, right?
Yes, yes. And
Where
API version here will give the version, the Docker email version
the path name.
slash.
Okay,
Yeah, here
okay,
will
I'm
be.
done from my side. You can say, close the screen and share your doc government ID. Yeah, close your screen. Yeah,
I'm stopping here.
yeah, share your
I'm
government.
sharing. I'm taking my wallet.
Little closer can you bring? Means why it is signing? How you are showing me? It is.
Yeah, I'm near the window.
अरे तो how I will. Yeah, yeah. Okay, 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 okay.
Yeah,
No, previously it was okay.
yeah, 1 second. I'm near the window. I'm just closing here. I think now it will be better somewhat. Better?
Do little tilt towards the screen. More.
Okay.
Mm,
Okay, now it is okay.
now it is okay. Just a second. Just a second. Okay. Any question for me? I'm done with the interview.
Yeah. What is the, I mean, current project domain you're working with, Arvind?
Current domain project for which we are looking to take you. It is in
Yes.
GCP, and
Okay.
we are currently our all the application in microservice based,
Okay.
where day-to-day deployment in the staging environment in the production environment go, and we have to do all test scan and all the approvals from all the security approval and all we need to take that. And
Okay.
before going to deployment, there is a gap of 6 months. We have a DR activity. So there, these are the
Okay.
things which we have in a pipeline. Okay, thank you. HR will get back to you. Have a
Yeah,
great day.
thank you, Arvind.
Thank you.
Yeah, any feedback on my interview? Like, exactly. I will improve myself, and I will.
Yeah, HR will get back to you.
Okay, Arvind. Yeah. Thank you.
You can drop.